Hello and welcome back to Clear Skye Thinking. Last time we got to see Piper and Lolita. I doubt we'll see Alice in casual clothes anytime soon, but who knows? So let's see what happens on day 5. I'm still thinking of them the next morning when the Carters arrive to whisk us away for yet another busy day of brand new sights. For most of the holiday, the Carters have taken us across the Sleet Peninsula to places only half an hour or so from Ardvassar by car. Today, however, the Carters have decided to take us to Neist Point, which is in the Durinish Peninsula on the westernmost tip of Skye. Again, sorry if I'm pronouncing everything wrong. Neist Point is a good 2 hours away from Ardvassar, which gives me ample time to stare out the window, lost in thought. Most of the countryside roads in Skye are bumpy and ill-maintained, but the A87's an actual stretch of relatively well-maintained motorway. The road is bordered by hills and fields on all sides. When I stare out the window, I can see tall mountains, their peaks capped with mist. The sky up ahead is a soft, gentle blue, and the sun is pleasant. My hands are folded neatly on my lap, and my lips are pursed as I ponder. Now, more than ever before, I want to know what happened between Piper and Aria. It's evident that something must have torn them apart, but what? It's aggravating that an uppity girl like Kendall should know this when she isn't even Piper's friend, but I don't. I don't want to force Piper into confessing anything she isn't comfortable with, but she's been dropping a lot of hints. Maybe she wants me to ask her about it, but she's too anxious to come out and say what happened herself. Does she want me to pry? Am I poking my nose where it doesn't belong? What in the world happened, and why did Piper talk about being trapped? For such a seemingly straightforward girl, she's pretty hard to get a read on. She's almost as convoluted as the A87.
Hey, Ellie.
Dad glances at me, his fingers still looped about the steering wheel. It's early in the morning, a little after 9 according to the clock in the car's dashboard, and the roads are sparse. I've only seen a handful of cars cruise by in the opposite direction during the last 10 minutes. I guess that's why Dad, who's such a careful driver, feels comfortable enough to glance over at me, despite all the bumps in the road.
Are you alright? You've been awfully quiet.
I'm always quiet, Dad.
I know that, but you're being even quieter than usual. You haven't even asked if we can put any music on. Is something on your mind?
You could say that, I guess.
I knew it. Did something happen between you and Piper? You didn't have a fight, did you?
No, of course not. Why would you think that?
Oh, I don't know. You two seemed to be getting on so well. You even stopped complaining about this holiday. And then... she left in such a hurry yesterday. She didn't even say goodbye. You didn't get into an argument while you were playing Scrabble, did you?
Oh, Dad, I'm not that immature.
Well, if it wasn't the Scrabble, what was it? Do you know why she left so suddenly?
It's a bit complicated.
Complicated?
I stare ahead blankly at the expanse of grey road. The Carter's car is a few miles ahead of us. It's a sleek, shiny thing, like a beetle. It looks newer than my father's Nissan and a lot more expensive too. I wonder how much money Ian makes as a backside developer, or whatever it is he says he does. He must be making bank. The carter's car crosses a small stone bridge and takes a left. My dad follows, fingers on the wheel. The road we're taking now is signposted as the A863. It's more unkempt than the A87. I guess it's not used as often. And there are more bumps and dips. The car rumbles, struggling over the terrain, and I feel my teeth chatter. I'm sick of stupid Skye and these stupid roads, but I'm not sick of Piper. I'm not angry with her. I just want to know. Piper told me about this friend she has, or had, called Aria. Apparently they fell out. It sounds like it happened pretty recently, but I'm not sure about the details. I think she's upset about it, but she won't tell me what happened.
Oh, I see. Are you worried about Piper then?
Yeah. I'd like it if she opened up to me, but I don't know if I'd be able to help. It's not like I'll be in Skye much longer and... Hey, Dad! I sit up a little straighter in my seat, my eyes fixed ahead on the road. Watch out, there are sheep on the road! Okay. Well, that's kinda to be expected here, isn't it?
Well, isn't this a fine pickle?
Please don't laugh, dear. It isn't funny. If you'd bricked a second later, you'd have run one of these sheep over.
It's alright, Hild. Don't worry so much. I did manage to brake in time, so there's no harm done. We're all alright, aren't we?
I suppose so. Hilda sniffs. Still, I wonder where all these sheep came from.
There must be a farm nearby. Maybe they came out here to graze.
On the tarmac? Hilda raises an eyebrow. I don't know who these sheep belong to, but they can't be very responsible. You can't just let sheep run amok. They'll cause chaos.
I think they look quite docile myself. I wonder how we'll shift them though.
Ian examines the sheep, one hand under his chin. His shiny car is parked up on the roadside, Dad's Nissan a few paces behind. All 5 of us are standing on the road, which is empty except for the flock of fluffy white sheep plonked on top of it. A few sheep are gnawing on blades of grass and dandelions at the side of the road, while others are curled up on the road itself. The sheep bleat among themselves, their ears twitching.
Oi, you lot, clear off!
Ian approaches the sheep, waving his arms, but they don't budge. One sheep tips back its head, mouth open so wide I can see its back teeth, and appears to yawn. Another gives Ian a dark, narrow-eyed look that seems almost belligerent. It almost looks like it's challenging him. Piper seems to find all of this incredibly amusing, because she giggles. Hilda, meanwhile, sighs.
It's no good, Hild. They're not listening to me.
Then you'll have to make them listen. Won't you? I've already planned today out. We need to keep to the schedule.
Oh, you and your schedules.
Ian shakes his head, somewhere between amused and exasperated.
Alright then, let's do this.
He rolls up his sleeves to better show off the chunky band of his expensive designer watch.
Can you help me, Michael? Piper. Let's herd some sheep.
Sure thing. This looks like fun.
I'm not sure if I'll be of much use, but I'll do my best.
I can help too if you want.
That's very nice of you, but don't put yourself out, Ellie dear. I wouldn't want you to ruin your pretty dress, and this is hardly work for a lady. Why don't you sit back in the car and let the men do it?
Hey, are you saying I'm like a guy?
You might as well be one. You've never shown any interest in dressing up or in getting your hair done. Piper sticks out her tongue and Hilda rolls her eyes. Thank you for proving my point, dear. I eye the sheep skeptically. They're sprawled across the road without a care in the world. There's something a bit surreal about this sight, actually. I've lived in London all my life, so I've never been in such close proximity to sheep outside of petting zoos. You'd never see them grazing in central London or on the tracks of the overground, though you do see rats there pretty often. It's quite novel, even if it is inconvenient. It's alright, I don't mind helping. It'll be something to do at least.
Then let's do it together. We can be partners in crime.
I don't think this is a crime. Unless you're planning to hurt the sheep?
Me? Hurt them? I wouldn't dream of it. I'm not a brute. I'm just going to scare them. I'm good at that. You might not know it, but I can be pretty loud.
I had no idea. I throw myself into the fray, crying out and gesticulating just like Ian, Piper and my dad. Piper might be smaller than Ian, but she has quite the powerful pair of lungs on her. Her cries echo throughout the highlands, loud and booming. The sheep's ears prick up at Piper's dulcet tones. They blink rapidly, alarmed, and stagger back. They're starting to move. Alright, that's my girl. You really are a chip off the old block. Let's keep at it. They're starting to shift.
Sure thing.
Piper continues to shoo away the errant sheep, whooping all the while. I join in, though my voice is a little more subdued. I don't like being the center of attention, and I've never cared to make too much noise. It's embarrassing. But when I'm with Piper, it doesn't feel too bad. I'm having a lot more fun than I ever thought I would. The sheep scattered, the 5 of us resume our journey to Nest Point unmolested. Okay. Well, I say that, but Ian and Dad can't park their cars at Nest Point proper. The road doesn't wind all the way along the rocky coast, and there's no car park. Instead, they park their cars at the end of a dirt track a few miles west of a small village called Dunvegan. Then I prepare myself for a climb. Look lively, everyone. The path to Nest Point is mostly uphill, and it's rather steep. There's railings to hold on to, but you'll need to watch your step. I guess it's a good thing I decided to forgo my heeled shoes today, and instead wore my old Nikes. Very sensible, thank you. I can't remember the last time I got so much wear out of these old things. Well, at least they're good for something. Luckily, this isn't a long walk. It should take us about half an hour. Maybe longer if you want to stop and take a few photos. The view from up on these cliffs is amazing. You can see all the way over the ocean. Sometimes you can see whales off the shore during the summer, and basking sharks. And there's a lot of birds as well.
There's an old lighthouse up on East Point too. It was built in 1900 and it's a pretty sight. It's a large, majestic building and it's one of the famous lighthouses in Scotland. It's still in operation, but it's semi-automated now. The old keepers' cottages don't have much of a use nowadays. I think they used to be rented out as holiday homes, but I haven't seen anybody there the last few times I came here. The lighthouse itself is well maintained. It'll be worth a trek, I promise.
Ian keeps up a steady commentary as we climb the cliff to East Point. His voice is louder than the ocean, which breaks against the shore, and the cawing of the white-winged gulls. Ian's boundless exposition used to aggravate me, but now I find myself listening, in part because I can't help it, and in part because I'm genuinely curious. Skye is the island where Piper grew up. She must have been to all these places numerous times before. She knows the history of these craggy old cliffs and these caves and this famous lighthouse. It's inevitable with Ian as a father, but I don't. There's a lot I have left to learn. But learning about all this stuff might be more enjoyable and interesting than I first imagined. We're really coming around, eh?
Oh, look at that, Ellie. Did you see that?
Piper stands by the edge of the cliffs, pointing out to the waves. The grand lighthouse Ian waxed poetical about stands behind us. In front of us, meanwhile, is the ocean. It breaks against the rocky cliffs about 80 feet below. The sky up above is a clear blue, speckled with a handful of fluffy clouds. The sea is a similar color to the sky. It's so bright, it reminds me of the pool at the local leisure center. I don't think I've seen the weather this pleasant during my sojourn in Skye. I can smell salt in the air when I inhale. The wind toys with the hem of my dress and my hair, but I don't try to smooth them down. I'm too busy peering out into the water, trying and failing to follow the direction of Piper's arm. What are you looking at?
The whale. I'm sure I saw a whale.
I squint, but I can't see anything whale-shaped among the white foam. I must have missed it. You'd think it hard, given how large whales are. I've seen the blue whale skeleton in London's Natural History Museum, but we are pretty high up. The colors of the ocean all seem to jumble together in a rush of rippling waves and creamy spray. Is it still there? I can't see it.
I don't think so. You must have missed it. Let's keep looking. I'm sure it'll come back.
What makes you so confident?
I don't know. Gut instinct, maybe? You're on holiday, so you've got to see at least one whale. Your trip would be incomplete otherwise.
I don't care much one way or the other. It's just a big fish.
Tut tut.
Piper wags an admonishing finger at me.
I'm surprised at you, Ellie. I thought you were supposed to be smart. Whales might live in the water, but they're not fish. They're mammals.
No, I know that. I was just being I know this word, but pronunciation. Facetious?
Mom calls me that sometimes when I answer her back, which I do more often than I probably should. Dad says I shouldn't rile her up so much, but her reactions are pretty funny. She's so uppity.
Piper glances back over the ocean, one hand to her forehead, shielding her eyes from the sun.
Let's see if we can see another whale. It's the right season for them. There must be one around here somewhere.
Here, whale, whale, whale.
You can't just call out to whales like that, you know. They aren't cats, and I doubt they'd be able to hear you anyway.
I guess not. But I'm not going to lose heart. Here, whale, whale. Oh, I think I can see one.
Piper takes my arm and gives it a squeeze, then points out across the ocean.
Look, look!
I follow Piper's pointing finger for the second time. I look, and this time I see it. There's a dark shape in the ocean some distance away. It has a pointed fin shaped into a triangle like Hilda's egg and cress sandwiches, and a rounded back glimmering with ocean spray. It's a whale. A real whale. I thought I was too old to get excited about animals, but there is something pretty neat about this aquatic display. Now that I've spotted one whale, I can see another frolicking in the water. Only its back is visible, an undulating hump tipped with a distinctive fin. I thought the whale skeleton in the museum, suspended from the ceiling, was interesting, but it can't compare to these living whales. There's something almost magical about it.
Well, what about that? There's two of them. Maybe they're friends.
Do whales have friends?
I don't see why not. They're very social creatures and they're meant to be pretty clever. I don't know if they're that different to me or you. Let's wave to them, Ellie.
There's no way they'll be able to wave back. They don't have hands. I think I've raised a pretty salient point, but I wind up waving all the same. I feel pretty foolish, but I guess it doesn't matter. It's not like there's anybody here to watch us. No, it's a nice day. Naste Point is more or less deserted. We did see a couple of families during our walk here, but they've all opted to keep away from the edge. Maybe they think it's dangerous. As for Ian, Hilda and my dad, they're busy examining the lighthouse. You can't actually go into it, but that's having fun taking photos, while Ian regales him with the lighthouse's heady history, no doubt. It's just Piper and I out here, staring out at the ocean. That seems to be a recurring theme during this holiday. Piper and I, just the two of us, friends. I glance at Piper, my brow furrowed. The sleeve of her oversized hoodie slipped down her wrist at some point during her frantic waving, and I can see that frayed friendship bracelet. She said that Arya gave her that. Who is Arya, though? What happened between them? I want to know, but...
I'm starting to get hungry.
Piper reaches into her pocket and pulls something out. It's shaped oddly and wrapped in transparent cling film, and it looks pretty hefty. I look at her quizzically. What's that?
Sandwich. It was a leftover from yesterday's picnic. It's tuna and red onion.
You took a sandwich on our trip and you kept it in your pocket?
Well, why not? It needs eating and it isn't too squished. I think it should still be good.
Piper unwraps the cling film from the sandwich and brings it to her nose. She gives it a sniff, then brings it to her mouth. She takes a small experimental bite. It must be good enough because she unwraps one slice in its entirety and begins to eat in earnest.
Do you want some, Ellie?
She offers the other half of the sandwich to me, but I shake my head. Regardless of what Piper says, That sandwich is more than a little squished. It's flatter than roadkill and most of the fillings leaking out the sides. Plus, it smells. I mean, I wouldn't eat it either way because I don't like tuna and red onions, but sounds disgusting. I like tuna sandwiches, but this sandwich is more than a day old and it's had plenty of time to ferment inside Piper's pocket. If that sandwich had been cheese and pickle or ham or any other less pungent offensive flavor, perhaps I would have taken Piper up on the offer. As it stands, however, I don't want that sandwich anywhere near me. Even Piper seems to be having second thoughts about her snack because she pauses after eating the first half of her sandwich.
Hey, Ellie, do you know what?
What?
Suddenly, I'm not very hungry anymore.
Throw the sandwich away then. You can't put it back in your pocket now.
But there aren't any bins up here.
Piper looks around, her brow furrowed. Then her face brightens. Has she hit upon a solution?
Maybe these guys will like it more.
You're going to throw it at the whales? Great. Piper breaks off a small piece of a tuna sandwich, then tosses it at a couple of nearby seagulls. Okay then. The gulls, who were picking about the cliffs aimlessly, perk up at this offering. They both descend upon the bite-sized morsel, but one is quicker than the other. It knocks its brethren, sisterin, I'm not sure what gender they are, aside, then bends to swipe up the snack.
Hey, calm down. There's enough for you too.
Piper breaks off another piece of sandwich and another. She scatters her offerings upon the cliffside like an empress might. But the gulls are a rowdy bunch, and Piper's philanthropy only prompts further discord. More gulls, attracted by Piper's sandwich, swoop down upon the cliff. Where once there were a couple, there are now 5, 10, maybe 15 of the things, all sharp-beaked and beady-eyed. All of this cawing is overwhelming. My ears are starting to ring. Hey, Piper, cut that out!
Why should I? They seem to be enjoying it.
And that's beside the point. If you keep feeding them, we'll get swarmed. It's too late to worry about such things now, though. Even more gulls have joined in the fray, one swooping dangerously close to my head. My hair's going to get ruined, and what will I do if one of these wicked creatures defecates on my dress? Piper, please. Enough is enough. I want to grab hold of Piper's wrist, but I stop short. I'm surrounded by seabirds. One gull is on my left, another on my right. A small piece of Piper's sandwich is at my shoes, and these 2 birds are both trying to lay claim to it. They approach me from both angles, wings spread. They aren't at all afraid of how I tower over them. All they can think about is the food. If I get caught in the middle of their skirmish, I could be seriously hurt. I don't know about serious, but it's scary. Seagulls can be scary even if just one swoops at you, so a swarm, not great. I don't want to wind up as collateral over a stinky old sandwich. It's not worth it. Hey, you guys, don't come any closer. We can talk this out. Please? This, of course, is a lost cause. Even if the gulls could speak English, which they obviously can't, I don't think they'd be interested in listening to reason. Their eyes are filled with ambition. They're going to charge.
Hey, Ellie, are you okay?
I already told you I'm not okay. This is all your fault, Piper.
They're going to kill me.
The two gulls eyeing up the food dash forwards like samurai, their wicked orange beaks wide open. I'm able to avoid these combatants, but I wasn't counting on artillery support. Yet another gull swoops down from the sky, its wings aloft. It almost clips me into the side of my head, and I stagger back. A loose rock slips beneath the heel of my shoe, and then I'm falling. Allie, don't worry, I've got you. Piper rushes over to me before I can crumple to the ground, just like she did at Dunscath. Abandoning the uneaten tuna mayo sandwich on the ground, the gulls all fly after it, still squawking, Piper extends her arms. She pulls me against her chest in a very regal, princely way. If this was an anime, I'm sure a border of roses would be blooming around us. Well, just little. It's a very romantic scene. The boyish Piper, stalwart and noble, cradling a shocked girl in a big puffy dress against her chest. At least it would be romantic if it wasn't for all of the gulls fighting over the last scraps of Piper's sandwich. And people say ducks are bad. Seagulls are just as vicious. Are you alright, Ellie? You didn't turn your ankle, did you? No, I think I'm fine. No thanks to you. Well, I guess I deserved that. I wasn't really thinking. No, you weren't. Why'd you decide to feed those awful things anyway? I don't know. I thought it'd be better than throwing the sandwich away. And there weren't any bins anyway. I didn't realize they'd be so enthusiastic. Do you think they get fed around here? I think back to childhood trips to the beach, back when Mom and Dad were still together. Once we had a picnic on the golden Brighton sands, and a seagull swooped down and stole a ham sandwich from my dad's hands. That bird didn't look particularly malnourished. It was so rotund it was almost a perfect sphere. The seagulls at Nest Point aren't quite as portly, but they don't look malnourished either. I'm sure they get fed enough. Stupid tourists probably leave all sorts of food lying around. Hey, I'm not a tourist. But you're not denying the stupid part? Well, that's still up for debate. Piper laughs awkwardly. She still hasn't stepped away from me, though the dive-bombing seagulls have already dispersed, and I can smell her breath on my cheek. It's very tuna-y. It's not the most pleasant of smells. This hasn't been the most pleasant 5 minutes in general, actually. But being held by Piper doesn't feel too bad. So, Allie, are you alright now? I live. Oh, good. Piper relinquishes her hold on me, at long last, then steps away from me, her face red as a beet. And what about your dress? You didn't get it dirty, did you? Last time I almost tripped, you said my dress was just a dress. Why so concerned now? Well, you know. You said your dresses were like your children, didn't you? That means they're a part of you. I didn't really get it before, so maybe I sounded flippant, but now I know how much your clothes mean to you. I'd hate to ruin them. So she realizes that this is partially, no, scratch that, entirely her fault? That's nice.
It means I don't have to shout at her. Since Piper's admitted to her own faults, I feel a little more justified in forgiving her so easily. My expression softens. I fix my eyes on her, one hand against my chest, and say, "Piper."
What? What is it? Are you gonna shout at me, Ellie?
What? No. Why do you think that?
I don't know. You just sounded so serious. The way you said my name sent shivers down my spine.
My spine's feeling pretty shivery too, but I don't think it's from dread. Not anymore, at least. I'm not mad at you. I probably should be, given the circumstances, but I'm glad you care about me so much. And my dresses too. I guess you really were listening yesterday.
Well, of course I was. It'd be rude not to when you sounded so passionate. I thought it was pretty interesting too.
Really?
Really, really. Would I lie to you?
I don't think so, no. I trust you, against my better judgment. I know you're not a liar. You're my friend.
Yes, that's right. We're friends.
I've known Piper for less than a week, but I think she already understands me better than some of my friends back in Croydon. She actually cares about my hobbies, weird though they are. She listened to me patiently yesterday, and she remembers everything I said. Other people might turn their nose up at my unusual fashion sense, but she cares about my dresses because I care about them. Piper hasn't ever belittled or undermined my feelings. She's doing her best to understand me, no matter how different we may be. I appreciate that more than words can express. I just wish she'd learn to trust me in return. Maybe then, one day, she'll open up to me about her feelings. Baby steps. Piper pays me another visit later that night, just like she did yesterday. This time, however, she doesn't come armed with her trusty Scrabble board. We leave the house, it's small enough to feel claustrophobic, and walk to Adversar's scrubby shore. The abandoned boat is still there, its wooden frame skeletal in the gathering gloom, creaking beneath the weight of its own old age. The waves lap against the muddy shore. The water is shallow and faintly grey. It's a gloomy night, which might explain why I'm feeling so blue. I'm not the only one who's down in the dumps either. I think Piper's in a similarly maudlin mood, because she says,
Hey, Ellie. Refresh my memory. When are you going home again?
On Saturday.
Saturday, huh?
Piper kicks a loose pebble with the tip of her oversized trainer.
It's Thursday today, so doesn't that mean you'll be leaving in a couple of days?
And that's how it is, yeah.
Aw, geez, that sucks. This week feels like it's going by so fast.
Piper pouts. She bends, extricating a smooth rock from the shore, then straightens her back. She skips it across the sea, but she uses a bit too much force, and it sinks.
Nuts.
Piper retrieves another stone. Her aim this time is slightly better, but she's only able to skip it twice before the shallow water swallows it. Her coordination looks off. She's twitching with nervous energy, even more than usual,
and her hand is shaking. Sorry. Is something wrong, Piper?
No, not really. This isn't such a big deal. I knew you'd go eventually, but... well... before you came here, I wasn't sure if I'd like you. Dad told me Michael, your dad I mean, had a kid about my age called Alice. I knew you'd grown up in London, and I vaguely remembered seeing you once before, but I didn't know what to expect. I was afraid you'd look down on me, or on Skye itself. Compared to London, this place must seem really backwater.
Part of me wants to protest, but I can't. Piper's right, and she knows it. I hated the thought of going to Skye, and I hated the Carter family, but mostly the Carter patriarch, Lord Ian, for dragging me all the way out here on my precious summer holiday. I was sure that I'd hate it. In fact, I was almost determined to. My feelings changed, however, when I met Piper. I thought she was fun and silly, if a little irreverent, and she cheered me up. She made this holiday almost tolerable. No, more than that. She made it enjoyable. It's because of her that I was able to have a good time. And it's because of her that I don't want to leave.
You weren't arrogant though. You didn't make fun of me. You even agreed to be my friend. I had a lot of fun with you, and I don't want it to end so soon. If you go, Ellie...
Piper stares at me, her eyes large and unusually intense.
I'll be sad. In fact, I'll really miss you.
You will?
Of course I will, dummy. I love Skye a lot, but it gets so lonely here. There's only so many times you can walk along the seafront or go on picnics with your parents to Armadale Castle. I like the sprawling countryside, and I like all the hills and mountains, and I like the crumbling castles. But I like them even more when I was with you.
Piper takes my hands in her own. Her palms are more callous than mine, worn from years of playing sports. Didn't Ian say that Piper played netball? I distinctly remember him telling us that, boasting about it, more like, the very first night he came to see us. I think he said Porchy High School recently won some competition against a school from... Dundee, was it?
I've seen everything there is to see on this island dozens of times already. Seeing them with you made them look new and shiny and special again. It was fun showing you around and telling you about Skye's landmarks and seeing your reactions. I liked playing Scrabble with you, and I liked trying on your funny dress. I like you.
Piper. A lump rises in my throat, and I have to swallow it down. My eyes prickle with unexpected tears, and I blink them away before I can embarrass myself. I don't want to cry. Not over Skye of all places. I'll ruin my makeup. I don't labor over my looks for hours on end only for them to be ruined by a stupid Piper and a stupid friendship and my stupid feelings. I'm sure I must look very, very uncool right now. Then again, I'm a Lolita. Are we ever cool? But... Piper...
Moisture continues to well up in my eyes despite my best attempts to stop it. Piper, I'll miss you too, you jerk. Huh? Piper takes a step back, her eyes wide. Why am I a jerk? What did I do wrong? You should know what you've done wrong. You're being way too sappy. If you keep acting all emotional, you're going to make me cry. My eye makeup's going to get ruined. I can't believe you'd be so thoughtless. Moron. You're such an idiot. I sniffle, holding my hands to my face. Warm tears are trickling down my cheeks in earnest now. My mascara doesn't stand a chance. Why didn't I bring one of my waterproof mascaras with me? Maybe Piper isn't the idiot here. I am. In the end, I'm not sure if I'm crying in grief over my imminent parting from Piper, or in mourning over the inevitable destruction of my perfectly made-up face. Being fashionable sure is hard. Oh dear. Hey, Ellie. Are you feeling a bit better now? I sniffle, wiping the last of my tears away from my flushed cheeks, and wince. It's a good thing I decided to wear a short-sleeved blouse today, else I would have wiped smears of wispy black mascara all over the fabric. Jeez, I've gotten makeup streaked all up the inside of my arm. It's pretty dark out. There's nothing more than the moon and the stars to illuminate Arthur's rocky beach, but I can still see the unsightly makeup smears on my skin. I am so smooth. Now that I've finished crying, I feel more embarrassed about my ruined mascara than I do my emotional outburst. Still, I try to force a smile. Not that it's all that convincing. It probably looks like I have lockjaw. I'm making an attempt though. Isn't that what really matters? Yeah. I'm alright. Thanks, Piper. And I'm sorry for being so weird. I didn't mean to. Well, I figured as much. Piper grins, then slaps a hand against my back. Oof. People don't start blubbing out of nowhere 'cause they want to. It looked like you were really going through it. Or maybe I made you go through it? Things did get a little emotional, yeah. Didn't they, just? Piper smells faintly, abashed, her ginger eyebrows knitted together. If anything, I feel like I'm the one who should apologize for getting so emotional. I don't know what came over me. Piper's talking lightly, but I think she does know what came over her, and so do I. She's worrying that, after I leave for London, she'll be stuck here on Skye, all alone, save for bitchy Kendall who likes to bully her. I feel a little guilty about that. But there's nothing I can do about it. It doesn't matter how much I like Piper. I can't exactly whisk her away to London with me. Dad wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it. He's always been a softie. I can get my own way on most things if I bat my eyelashes enough. But I don't think Hilda would like it at all. And anyway, there's nowhere we can really put her.
I live in an apartment with Dad, and it only has 2 bedrooms. There's no space. Once this holiday ends, that'll be it. I won't be seeing Piper anymore. Not for the immediate future, at least. Since she has her last year of college to worry about, and I have mine. But I'll still miss her. I'll miss her a lot. I wouldn't have started crying otherwise. Oh? I start, a blush spreading across my cheeks. I was so lost in my own thoughts I didn't notice that Piper had gotten all up in my personal space. Not until I blinked to see her bright blue eyes peering into mine. What's she doing? Why are you staring at me like I'm an exhibit in a museum? I'm used to people staring on account of my clothes, but Piper's seen me dressed up a bunch of times before. This ensemble isn't even a new addition to my roster. I wore it during the day we met. There's no reason for her to be looking at me like that, unless... My mascara doesn't look that awful, does it?
Well,
Piper smiles, abashed, pressing her index fingers together.
I wouldn't say it looks awful exactly.
So it's hideous instead? I sigh. Alright, I've got it.
No. You don't look hideous, Ellie. You couldn't, even if you tried.
You say that, but I was trying pretty hard earlier, blabbing like that. I must look a state.
You've definitely looked better, I guess. I hope that doesn't sound too mean.
No, it's not mean. You're not like Candle. She's mean.
Yeah, she is, isn't she? Did you notice that?
It'd be hard not to. She wasn't exactly being subtle. Maybe Candle thought she was being clever, dropping all those snide remarks, but I could see right through her. Yeah, that was very obvious. Not, I think, that she really wanted to mask her disdain. She looked like she was having too much fun at Piper's expense. If you want to be properly bitchy, you should try and study under her. She's the real queen at it.
Oh, don't tell her that. I think Candle would love being called the queen. She already acts like she's royalty, the way she swans around the school. But she doesn't dress half as nice as you.
I doubt I look very nice right now.
Maybe not, but it's alright. It's my fault, because I made you cry. Your mascara's a bit smeared, but I won't hold it against you. In fact, I feel like I should help out. Do you want me to dry your eyes?
With what?
With this.
Piper beams, her teeth bright white even in the dark, and pulls a wad of crumpled tissues from her pocket. I look at the tissues skeptically, my arms crossed. Do you usually carry half a toilet roll around with you?
Kinda, actually. My nose gets all sniffly sometimes, so I need a bunch of tissues on hand at all times. Not that I've sniffled in these tissues, Allie.
Piper hastens to reassure me after seeing my nose wrinkle.
They should be good, I promise.
Well, if you're sure.
I'm very sure. Now come here.
Piper says that, but she's the one who takes a step forwards. She reaches out,
the wad of tissues crumpled in her right hand, not at all artfully. She tries to dab at my eyes to wipe away the bits of mascara that my unexpected crying jack has spoiled. If I'd known I was going to burst into tears, I really would have worn waterproof makeup. But... I wince. That's funny. I can smell something kind of weird. Is that... Wait. It is. Piper? I snap at Piper, taking a hasty step back, almost turning my ankle on a loose rock in the process. Huh? Piper draws away from me, confusion plastered all over her face. What is it, Ellie? What's wrong? I didn't catch your eye, did I? No, you didn't. That's not the issue here. I just realized. Did you have those tissues crammed up in your pocket with that old tuna sandwich? What? Piper blinks. Her brow furrows. Then, after a pause, she says, Oh yeah, I forgot about that, but don't worry, the sandwich was wrapped in cling film. The tissues shouldn't be all tuna-y. She says that, but that didn't stop them from stinking to high heavens. My eyes are starting to water all over again, but it's not because I feel emotional. That fishy aroma really is potent. Ugh. I press a hand against my delicate maidenly nose, which has taken quite a beating, then say, Next time you want to dry somebody's eyes, Piper, you should make sure your tissues don't stink like a Finnish fish market. Those tissues reek. Wow. What a great end to that. But at least I got the mood back up, eh? I get back home, not that it's my real home, about 15 minutes after the incident with the fishy tissues. Piper walks me back like a gallant knight, not that she really needs to. The holiday home is only a stone's throw away from the coast. Since Skye is so small, and Artosar is even smaller, everything's a stone's throw away. It might be dark, but I'd have to be a real idiot to get lost, and I'm not fussed about running into any strange men either. The streets are completely desolate. I think I'd be in greater danger of running into stray sheep, like we did earlier, out on the road. Piper insists on walking me back despite my attempts to rebuff her, though. It's alright. It's alright. I'll be just fine. You don't need to worry so much. Her response went a little like, I want to worry, Allie. You're my friend. I wouldn't forgive myself if something happened to you out there. Privately, I think the worst thing that's happened to me today is Piper and her tuna tissues, but I don't tell her that. It would probably hurt her feelings, and I can tell she's trying to make amends. She's trying so hard. It's touching. Piper doesn't duck inside when we get back, however, like I thought she would. She says she needs to be back. Her parents will be worrying about her, and she gives me a jaunty wave. I'll see you tomorrow, all right? Sure, tomorrow. I bid Piper a good night, then head inside. The TV is on in the living room, and Dad's sitting on one of the uncomfortable, ugly couches, watching some documentary. He turns the volume down and swivels his head to look at me when I enter the room, however. He smiles, a well-meaning inquiry on his lips.
Hey, Ellie, did you have a good time?
But he stops mid-sentence when he sees the look on my face.
He frowns. Then, sounding rather worried, he says,
Hey, Elle. Are you alright, sweetie?
I'm fine, Dad. Why do you ask?
Oh, I was just wondering is all. Your makeup looks a bit smudged, almost like
You've been crying. That's obviously what Dad wants to say, but he doesn't finish his remark. I guess he realizes it'd be insensitive. If there's one thing dads shouldn't ask their teenage daughters, after whether it's the time of the month, it's whether they've been crying. Dad's concern is still pretty obvious, however. His brow furrows and softly he says,
Did something happen? You're alright, aren't you, sweetie?
Nothing happened, Dad. I reply warily, more than a little self-conscious. How awful must my smeared makeup look anyway? I'm just a little tired.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I had a busy day. I think I'll have a bath and go to bed early. I'm sure we have another busy day lined up tomorrow, since it'll... I pause. My voice catches in my throat, but I force myself to finish the sentence. Since it'll be our last full day here and all. Jeez. Now I wonder, why does that sound so final? Oh boy. The 5th day. Enjoy the 5th day. We did, until that emotional outburst. Yeah, it's... Wait, so we're at day 6? Wasn't it supposed to be 10 days at Skye? I guess I'm misremembering if it's just like 7 or like her break is 10 days and they spend 7 here. Anyway, we're kind of escalating with the emotions a bit, but yeah, still a bit of a ways to go. But yeah, that was it from me today. As always, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.